Welcome back. The Lagos State government has finally joined the international community's efforts in applying scientific methods to prosecution, defense, law enforcement, criminal investigations, national security, and disaster management. The State Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Funlola Odulami, made this disclosure at the just concluded 4th Lagos Forensic Symposium. Some resource person at the symposium says the Forensic Center has worked on about 300 cases. We have details in this next report.
Okay, this is the 4th symposium. So we started with creating the awareness that now Lagos State has a forensic center. And then over the years, apart from the awareness, it's also to educate people about what it's all about. So that's really, and then like all countries of the world, when you have such a center, you have people in that field to rub minds, to improve on their technology, to improve on how things they do and exchange ideas. So it's also exchange of ideas.
The Lagos State Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, explaining the idea behind the Lagos Forensic Symposium. Gathered here at this 4th edition are participants from the state's judiciary, the magistrates, lawyers, members of the legislature, representatives of the police, immigration, customs, investigators, forensic pathologists, scientists, medical practitioners, emergency responders, and many others. Resource persons included leading and world-renowned experts with cognate experience in forensics, DNA technologies, judiciary, legislative issues, and law enforcement. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, State Criminal Investigation Department, Mrs. Yetunde Lunge, says there has been a lot of synergy between the police, the Ministry of Justice, the judiciary, the pathologist, and the forensic center, and this has assisted investigations and fast-tracked prosecutions.
We have about 5 high-profile cases which I made mention when I was doing the presentation. The case of Nelson, the Danish that killed his wife and the daughter. The case is in court, and it's the forensic team were there at the scene and have really presented their own evidence in court. We have the Otike case where the woman killed her husband and severed his manhood. It's another good case which the team has assisted in prosecuting the case. We have the case of Sunday, the case of Ademosi, where the houseboy killed the master. We were there. Actually, the Lagos State CID, we do not go anywhere without, going with the forensic team, and even the pathologists sometimes they go with us.
So far, we've worked on about 314 cases. Out of these, about 30% are forensic cases. It involves sexual assault, rape, murder, attempted suicide, child trafficking, and human body part trafficking. What we have contributed to investigation is we now have a scientific way of verifying. Like if you see somebody with a bucket of body parts, how do you prove scientifically that it's human and not a different animal? Well, we have a way to do that now. So in sexual assault cases, several days after the assault, if you bring some items recovered during the investigation, we can demonstrate if there is a foreign DNA on the cloth. And if we can prove that it is semen, then we would give the investigators an opportunity to ask the suspect how his semen got to the victim's clothes. So we have helped in a number of ways to try to resolve crimes. What we do is not the only thing that is required. You need to work collaboratively. So the collaboration with the Nigerian police has been excellent.
Apart from domestic and sexual violence cases, the Lagos State government says it is working on equipping the forensic center with chemistry and toxicology units, which will be operational by the year 2020. When it becomes operational, it will help the government to uncover the illegal use of controlled substances and drugs in the state, and also speed up the identification and conviction of perpetrators of cases related to intake of poisonous and harmful substances. The services of the DNA and Forensic Center are available not only to law enforcement agencies and prosecutors, they are also available to NGOs and other members of the public.
And on the home stretch, let's bring you a recap of some of the top stories we tracked at the courts.
We begin with the report that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has fixed August 21st when parties in the case are expected to present their closing arguments. The candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar and his party, have insisted that President Muhammadu Buhari was not qualified to have contested the February 23rd poll and as such should be disqualified by the tribunal. In their final address to the tribunal, the petitioners claim to have established the fact that President Buhari does not possess the requisite academic qualification for the position of President of Nigeria. In a 43-page final address filed by their lead counsel, Dr. Levi Uzoku S.A.N., Atiku and the PDP said even Buhari's own witnesses under cross-examination admitted to the fact that Buhari does not possess a school certificate, being the basic requirements for contesting for the office of the president. From the tribunal, we move to the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos, which has granted bail to Abdullahi Babalele, a son-in-law to former Vice President and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2019 general elections, Atiku Abubakar. On Wednesday, the 14th of August, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission filed a 2-count charge of money laundering against Babalele. The anti-graft agency alleged that on the 20th of February 2019, Babalele procured one Bashir Mohammed to make cash payment of the sum of $140,000 without going through a financial institution, a sum which exceeded the amount authorized by law and constitutes an offense punishable by Section 16, subsection 2b of the Money Laundering Prohibition 11 as amended. At his arraignment, Babalele pleaded not guilty. After the bail hearing on Thursday, Justice Nicholas Owebo admitted him to bail in the sum of 20 million naira with one surety in like sum. The judge said the surety must be resident in Lagos and must produce evidence of means through an affidavit. Babalele was also directed to deposit his passport, which has been with the EFCC, with the court. He will, however, be remanded in the custody of the EFCC pending the perfection of the bail conditions. In a related development, Justice Owebo also granted bail to Atiku's lawyer, Mr. Uyi Ekpen-Giwa Osage, and his brother, Ironse, in the sum of 20 million naira each with one surety in like sum. The surety must reside in Lagos and also have landed property in Lagos. The judge also ordered that the two defendants be released to their lawyers pending the perfection of their bail terms, which must be done within 14 days. Trial in both cases has been fixed for the 8th of October 2019. In Ondo State, a Nigerian soldier who was alleged to have raped a student of the Adekunle Ajasin University was on Wednesday dragged before a family court in Akure, the state capital. The suspect, Lance Corporal Sunday Adelola from the 32 Artillery Brigade of the Nigerian Army, was said to have committed the crime on July 31st, 2019. On the said day, he was said to have ordered the victim out of a passenger vehicle at a military checkpoint while traveling from Akungba to Ikare Akoko and dragged her into a nearby cubicle where he allegedly raped her. Following the incident, there have been series of petitions and protests by students and authorities of the university condemning the act. The Ondo State government as well as human rights groups also intervened, calling for justice on the crime. The army authorities subsequently set up a panel of investigation on the matter. The panel found him guilty and he was dismissed from service, after which he was handed over to the police for prosecution. On the foreign scene, a South African court on Monday, August the 12th, temporarily blocked the nation's anti-corruption watchdog from forcing Parliament to censure President Cyril Ramaphosa over campaign funding. The country's anti-corruption advocate, Busisiwe Mkabwane, locked horns with President Ramaphosa after she accused him of deliberately misleading Parliament over fundraising in his campaign to become president of the African National Congress in 2017. In her scathing report last month, Mkwebane also directed Parliament to take action against the president for allegedly breaching the Executive Ethics Code and ordered him to disclose details of all his campaign funders. Ramaphosa went to court seeking an interim ban on her instruction while he appealed against her findings. He described the report as fundamentally and irretrievably flawed. A Pretoria High Court has granted him the reliefs he sought.
And that's our program this week. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to catch the repeats on air or watch via our YouTube channel. I'm Shola Sheyeli. See you next week.